Good evening, everyone, or I should say morning, because it's technically midnight already, so it's technically Thursday morning now. I just wanted to share my thoughts on the midterm election. The midterm election took place yesterday. Or actually, I should say the day before yesterday, because again, it's Thursday. It'll definitely be Thursday by the time I share this video. I went into the night. I started watching it. A little nervous, but at the same time, I was feeling a little optimistic. I was like, "Oh man, let the polls be wrong for once. Let them be wrong in the Democrats' favor." And long story short, for the most part, they were wrong um, in the Democrats' favor, and so I think the only bad news I would share right now, that might be bad news because it's technically not bad news yet, that the historical trend, it can still hold up, but just barely, honestly. Republicans did not have the greatest night, that's for sure. I mean, like I said in previous videos, I was hoping that the Democrats would break the trend, buck the trend, and let Biden keep the White House and Congress for 2 more years. It's not over yet. It's still up in the air, but the experts, they're saying that Republicans will likely take the House, but just barely, just barely. That was sort of expected, really. I'm not that surprised about that. I was hoping. I mean, I'm still hoping technically because, like I said, it's not guaranteed yet. As I'm filming this video, it's not guaranteed that Republicans will take the House yet, but that's where they are closest to. Um, the Senate is looking less likely for them, so that's good. John Fetterman, he defeated Dr. Oz, so that's a pickup for the Democrats. Um, Tim Ryan lost in Ohio, but even though he lost, like he outperformed Biden from 2020. So I mean, that's bad news that he lost, but if you're a Democrat, anyways, bad news for Democrats. Or if you just don't trust Republicans, bad news. Tim Ryan lost, but they say he outperformed by a lot. So I mean, yeah, there was a red wave. Republicans did show up, but there was also a blue wall, man, and it's holding up pretty well for now. I mean, we we have Republicans have unseated some Democrats, but it's way below the expectations they had. They thought they were gonna really romp the midterms and just wash away the Democrats, and that's not the case, man. So I'm glad about that. But what makes me really happy is that I was really worried about the whole our democracy being under threat by the Trump candidates. Those election deniers that they were all, a lot of them on record. They were on record saying that they were going to that if it were up to them in 2020, they wouldn't have certified Biden, and they were saying if we win, no Republican will lose again. That's hinting at you know fascism, really, the end of democracy, or taking shots at democracy. So I was really worried about those candidates, and I don't know if they're all losing, but a lot of them are losing. So that's great news, man. I'm not happy for the Democrats. I'm just happy for democracy. I'm just straight up honest. Like, I still think Democrats are evil. I just think they're the lesser of two evils. And So, I'm not celebrating for them. I'm just celebrating that democracy at least got another 2 years of life. I mean, like beyond 2024. Um, 2 years on, 2024, democracy is there, not on shaky ground. And democracy got a little stronger to this time around this week. And yeah, man, it makes me hopeful, man. So, what happened here? So, something's. Oh, sorry, my phone was doing something weird. But yeah, I don't know how many of the Trump Republicans, the election deniers. I don't know how many of them are losing, because there was a lot of them running, but a lot of the high profile ones, a lot of them are losing. Like those people running for governor, and stuff, and for the Senate and all that. Like, I think all of them are losing right now. At least in the those running for governor, I think every single Trump guy that was, you know, being anti-abortion and anti-democracy, every single one of them is they lost already, with the exception maybe of Carrie Lake. She is kind of hanging in there. She's losing too, but she's not out. She's definitely not out. And I mean, I'm not that surprised, honestly, because her opponent this week, honestly, man, Katie Hobbs. Never heard of this lady, but from what I have learned, not a very impressive candidate for, on the Democratic side. She wouldn't even debate Carrie Lake. And honestly, that I think that's a bad character. That's bad character. It just reflects bad on a candidate that doesn't want to debate. And so I'm surprised that she's uh she's still ahead, just barely. We're talking less than 1%. That's how much the Democrat is up by. That's how small the margin is between Carrie Lake and this Katie Hobbs lady. And but we're optimistic that Carrie Lake is gonna lose anyway in the end, because there's still a lot of mail-in ballots which tend to be Democratic, uh, heavily Democratic. There's still a lot of them that have not been counted, and I don't know why it takes so goddamn long. I'm talking about Arizona right now. I don't know if it's the whole damn state or just that county in Maricopa County. It takes them forever. I'm trying not to cuss, and I will cuss eventually, but I'm trying to be cognizant of it. And but yeah, Maricopa County, it takes them forever. Let me get you out the way. Uh, 2020 was the same thing. It took them like 2 or 3 days, and they're saying it's gonna take them like 2 or 3 days again. Like, get your shit together, Maricopa County. It's ridiculous all over the country, honestly. Pennsylvania takes forever too. Although this time there was a wide enough margin, so they were able to call it like this on election night. One of the election deniers was Doug Mastriano. He got smoked by Josh Shapiro, and Dr. Oz versus John Fetterman. John Fetterman spanked that ass. Not as bad as Josh Shapiro did to Doug Mastriano, but yeah, he's gonna win by a pretty comfortable margin as well. So good news. I'm glad John Fetterman is in there. A lot of people were worried about it. I'm not gonna drown you with details right now about that specific race, but if you watch the debate, if you know what happened to John Fetterman, you know how dicey it was looking for him. But yeah, man, I was, like I said on my last 1 hour video that I had, I said that the pollsters either they always undercount the Republican voters, like the Republican turnout, and even if they weren't undercounting it. I said if they're accurate, then we're still effed on the left, because all these posters, they had the Republicans, as favorites to. They were predicting the red wave, and the red wave did come, as I said, but the blue wall is holding up right now. There was a blue wall, and so yeah, a lot of the posters messed up again. They messed up, but this time they messed up in the Democrats' favor. They undercounted the Democratic support, and bottom line for me, all these posters, they were saying that economy, inflation, I think crime was like the top three for voters. And you're looking at the exit polls now, and it's the shit that was worrying me. I mean, yeah, I am worried about the economy, the inflation, and jobs, but jobs not so much, because we do have jobs. Unemployment is like ridiculously low right now, like 2%, 3%. It's way down there. But yeah, I was worried that people were more worried about the whole crime thing and the inflation and the economy and all that, and I was worried that they were more worried about that than they were about social issues. Because, like I said, I don't like talking about social issues. When Republicans talk about them, as long as they're only talking their crap, whatever, I'll try to ignore it and try to pivot to more tangible issues, more material needs kind of thing. But they were going they were going beyond just talking. They were passing legislation and physically harming women and LGBT members, and physically, like, literally threatening democracy. So that was the top three for me. Like, women's the top three for me, right? And this one, there were women's rights. It was democracy, and just the attacks on trans people, man. It just makes me feel uneasy. Like, why you gotta be such a dick, Why are you trying to make these people miserable? Like, their demographics are low as hell. They're like less than 2% of the country, and they're so very, very tiny minority. And they have so many issues already. Like, suicide rate is high with them, and poverty is high with that community. The last thing they need is freaking privileged people using them as a political chip, So that was my worries, and like I said, I'm worried about the other things too, the economy and all that. But in my mind, the Democrats are doing little. They could be doing more, but in my opinion, as I always say, Republicans are always worse, and so I didn't expect Republicans to do anything better than what the Democrats are doing right now. So that's my argument, because to me they are worse in every measurable metric. Republicans are worse, and so the other hyperbolic moral panic, it was immigration. We're the invasion, the caravans, and all that shit. But yeah, man, I think I'm glad that people weren't forgetting about the importance of keeping our democracy. Ukraine is another big worry. The whole risk of nuclear war is kind of heating up still, so we really need to pay attention to that. But overall, I'm glad about that. So let me share some. I've been listening to the breakdowns of the aftermath. I mean, there's the midterms are not over yet. There's still races in the air. Republicans could still take the House, even the Senate. They still have a shot. But right now, everything's in the air, and we're not gonna find out tonight. I'll tell you that. Maybe by tomorrow or by Thursday afternoon, we might know something. If not, we won't know till Friday, because Nevada is also in the air right now. Nevada's in the air. Arizona's in the air. Georgia's in the air. I think those are the top three. There might be another one that I'm blanking on. But anyways, I took some notes, and let me share the information I've been getting just from listening to all my political shows. I'm a political junkie, like I said. So this is like my NFL, my freaking UFC right now. Like, I get excited about politics. I follow it closely. So let me see, 2022 midterm election random data. That's how I labeled it. Democrats overperformed the polls. I share that with you. The Real Clear Politics, they had these three states as toss-ups. Freaking Washington, Colorado, and Maine. They're like, oh, it's gonna be close. Like one might win. One on the Senate side, I think they were saying, oh, one might win by 1 or 2 points, or they might lose by 1 or 2 points. Nonsense. Democrats freaking way overperformed that poll. They all won. All the senators in those three states, they won by like 10% or more. Uh, historical trends. All historical trends since Clinton to Biden, pretty much how it shakes out normally. After that, after a new president's been elected, they've been holding both chambers of Congress and the White House, and normally 2 years later, they lose power. They lose one of the like it might happen right now. They lose the House or the Senate, but normally it's by a lot, like by a big margin. So here we go. Let's see. Clinton, he got elected in 92. 1994 comes, his midterm. His approval rating was 44%, and he lost 54 seats in the House of Representatives, and that's I think that's when the Newt Gingrich era started. And then you move to Bush. Bush broke the trend, surprisingly, but everybody's saying that it was because of 9/11. He got elected in 2000, so his midterm was 2002, and 9/11 happened like shortly before that. And for some reason, apparently, that raised his approval ratings. I don't know why, but I guess I wasn't paying that much attention to politics then. But so he broke the trend in that scenario. He was 63% approval rating, and he gained 8 seats. But then I think in 2006, his second midterm, that's when he got stumped. He got a spanking. Obama, super majorities. I remember this one clearly because I was definitely more engaged in this time. He gets elected in 2008 with super majorities, like 59 senators, and I don't even remember. He had a bunch of Democrats, like way more Democrats than Republicans in his first 2 years. His approval rating was 45%, and then he lost 63 seats in 2010. Trump comes in with a narrow majority in the Senate, and a little, like plus 10 or 15 in the House. 2018 comes, his approval rating is 46, and boom, he loses 40 seats, and that gives control to the Democrats. Now here's Biden. He gets elected in 2020. His approval rating this midterm was 44%, and we don't know yet. We don't know if he's gonna lose anything. If it's to be determined because everything's in the air. So that's a good sign for Biden. I mean, with all these other people, you knew the night of how well or how bad you did, And Biden, he hasn't lost anything yet. He can still hold on to the Senate and to a smaller degree. He might even hold the House of the Representatives. So I think they're saying worst case scenario, if he loses the House, it might be by like 3 seats only. So that's good. And I was, like I said, man, like I'm bummed out about that, but I'm very happy that all these that the voters are rejecting all this election deniers. That was my main worry, and I'm glad that people care about their democracy more. Florida is the only state where GOP really did good. Ron DeSantis, evil mofo, but he really spanked. He really gave Charlie Crist a spanking. I think Charlie Crist should stop trying to run for governor. Um, I was hoping his opponent would get the nomination. I can't remember the lady's name anymore, but I think she would have given DeSantis a better run for his money. But oh well, that's the only state where Republicans, that was their red wave in Florida. I guess they really did meet expectations. I guess in Florida, DeSantis won by a good margin, and then Marco Rubio too against Val Demings. He really left her in the dust too. So I'm not gonna say good for Florida. I think that's bad for Florida. I don't trust Republicans. So anyway, that's another conversation. Michael Moore, the predictor. That dude. There's something about Michael Moore. He predicted in 2016 that Trump was gonna win, and because he sees something that the rest of us failed to see, I guess, and he predicted that Democrats were gonna do good, and this is good for Democrats because, like I said, they're close. They're this close to possibly breaking the trend of losing the Dem House and/or Senate after your first 2 years. And I mean, he was right, man. There was a blue wall. There was a red wave, but the blue wall was there. We were afraid there was no freaking blue wall, and so far it's holding on pretty good. Another thing, like I said, polls had freaking the economy and inflation and crime, whatever, and even immigration in some cases at the top 3, top 4 issues before going in. And then you look at exit polls, and people say they voted because they were mostly concerned about abortion and what was the other one? Yeah, and abortion was like either the number 1 or number 2 issues in all these Midwestern states, the Rust Belt, what they call it. Authoritarianism also was like high up there, number 3, number 4, but they were higher than the economy and all that with a lot of the voters. So color me surprised, but I'm gladly surprised. What else? Another data point here. 60% of voters had an election denier. Yeah, 60% of the voters, they had a election deniers on their ballot. Out of 552 Republicans running, 36% of them, they were election deniers, like flat out deniers, like nope, Biden did not win and he will not win again. Those were the ones that were worrying me. 199 of them to be exact, or somewhere close to 200 of them. 11% they were being wishy-washy. Like we don't know, like there's things that need to be answered. They were playing loose with the facts. That was like 61 of them, just above 60. 7 election deniers, they were running to be secretaries of state. 7 of them were trying to be attorney generals. Those are powerful positions if you're like in charge, because those are positions where you're making decisions on voting decisions, on how the election is run and certifying elections and stuff like that. So, but I don't know where these people are, but I hope they lost. Like I said, all the high profile ones, most of them lost. I hope it's the same story with the down ballot election deniers. And then you add them all up, and they say it's like 53%, and I got less than that. I got like 47%, but whatever. Uh, they say that maybe the CHIPS Act that brings 350,000 jobs back helps Biden, but we don't know. That's not for sure yet. But I feel like I'm missing something here in my notes. Anyways, this is a part where I get optimistic. Like people are thinking like people value their democracy. I haven't felt this optimistic in many elections, man. I think since Obama, I was kind of optimistic with Obama, but he fucking about a year in, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Inside my head, anyway. But this is kind of contradictory. I mean, Kyle says that a poll, Kyle Kalinske, I was watching him, and she said that a poll says that only 19% of the country is satisfied with the direction of the country. So, I mean, people read that kind of poll, they normally say it's the fault of, like, people feel that way because of the party in charge. I mean, yeah, I guess so, but I'm not sure that's the case because, I mean, yeah, you can count me among those 19%, but I certainly don't blame it all on Democrats. Certainly not the majority. I blame it mostly on Republicans. So maybe most people feel that way too. Like, yeah, man, we can blame Democrats, but at least they're not trying to end democracy. You know, at least at least they passed 15% minimum tax on corporations, 1% on stock buybacks, and those things add up, I think. So I think I agree with that 19%, but I think a lot of them, like me, hold on, only 19% of the country is satisfied with the direction. So only 19%, that means 81% think we're in the wrong direction. I agree with the 81%, but I think most of the 81% agree that it's more the Republicans' fault than it is the Democrats. So that's optimistic for me. CNN Nation poll. This one's regarding age groups, like how they voted on the exit polls. CNN Nation House exit polls. On the House. So 65 or older, they voted for the Republicans, so by like a 13% margin. 45 to 64, they also voted Republican by an 11% margin. 30 to 44, so this is the younger demographic. They voted. You count me up. That's my age group right there. 30 to 44. We voted for Democrats by a 2% margin only. This is the big one. The biggest margin here. 18 to 29-year-olds. They voted for Democrats by almost 30% margin. 28% here. What I don't know is how big the generation, the Gen Z people, the youngest ones. I don't know how big of the piece of the pie they were, how big of a piece of the pie they are of the voting block, but they must be big because Democrats are not doing bad right now. Like I said, we still don't know if they're gonna lose anything at all. They might hold on to the House and Senate. Who knows? Not the highest percentage, but the fact that it's this late in the election and we still don't know, that's good for the Democrats. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Election deniers, they're dropping like flies. So thank God for that, man. Oh, here's the governors, the election deniers that ran for governor. I got a few names here that all these people lost already. Lee Zeldin in New York, election denier, he lost. Dan Cox in Maryland, election denier, he lost. All these people lost by very sizable margins. Darren Bailey here in Illinois, that mofo lost. As soon as the polls in Illinois closed, 5 minutes later they declared J.B. Pritzker the winner. Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, he lost by a good margin. Tudor Dixon in Michigan, she lost too. Tim Michaels in Wisconsin, he lost too. All these people were election deniers. Carrie Lake, she's the only one hanging on right now. And she's also losing, but it's not clear that she will lose. We don't know yet. Oh crap. Uh, yeah, they're still counting ballots in Arizona. So I don't know why it takes them so damn long. CNN exit polls, view of Trump. So people that voted, 60% of them view him unfavorably. Count me among them. 37% of them, they view him favorably. So I guess 33% of them don't give a shit. I guess like wow, they got no opinion. Another good piece of good news for me that progressive Democrats, like real Democrats, people on the left, to the left of Pelosi and to the left of Chuck Schumer, definitely to the left of Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. Apparently, a good chunk of them got in, like they got elected, and so that means they're gonna join ranks with the other progressives, right, that we have there, like real progressives, because there's this freaking caucus. They call them the Progressive Caucus. It's like 100 members or a little over 100 of them, and um, many of them they get considered fake progressives, really. Out of those hundreds, maybe like 10, 20 of them are real progressives. So I mean, there's four names here that I have. I don't know if they're the only four that got in, but even if it's only four, I'm happy. I'm certainly happy about that. Better than not get any progressives. I'm familiar with three of them. Maxwell Frost, he's a dude from Florida. He got in. Very young guy. I think he's a survivor of a gun shooting or something. But he has good politics, like a good platform. Shit that I agree with. Medicare for all, college for all, Greg Kazar, something Kazar, I think. Dude from Texas. I heard his name before. And yeah, I kind of followed him, so I'm glad he got in. Summer Lee, Pennsylvania, she got in too, so that's good. Um, this one I'm not familiar. Delia Ramirez. I don't know where she's from. I think this is the first time I hear this lady, but apparently she believes in the same policy prescriptions that I think we need in our country, which is guaranteed health care for all of us, Medicare for all, we call it, or universal health care, whatever. Or if you're from the Republicans, socialized medicine. So scary. Anyways. Um, yeah, man. Good news for me. And like I said, I am happy. I feel hopeful, man. Like, election results, even though Democrats might lose the Senate and they might lose the House, more likely the House, I feel relieved. I feel hopeful. Like I literally feel hopeful. Like people are actually paying attention and not just trolling. Like I have a lot of haters. Breaking points, guys. I'm talking to you. You know who you are. And I literally, like, I'm serious with these people. Like I debate with them on Facebook, and I share the facts that I know and why I'm concerned about these things, and they don't give a shit, honestly. Like, that's the vibe they give me anyway. Like, they're just there to troll. They're not worried about democracy like I am, I guess, and like most people are, at least on this election. A lot of, at least, fucking, if it's not the majority, I think it might be the plurality. I can't say that word, I guess. Plurality. Am I saying it right? Maybe, maybe not. But like, at least they're a decent chunk of the voter population. So I'm happy that people actually had abortion in mind, and the threat to democracy in mind, and because a lot of people that voted against this election deniers, they voted for other Republicans, but this was a big rejection of the election deniers. Even though, like I said, I think that's why we're gonna lose. We might lose the House, because they voted for against this Republicans, this Trump Republicans, that they're trying to end democracy. People voted against them. They voted for their Democratic opponents. But then the rest of the ballot, they voted for other Republicans, like in Pennsylvania. Both Democrats won, like the one running for Senate and the one running for governor. Both of them won. But what's his name? Josh Shapiro, the Democrat, he defeated Doug Mastriano, the Trump guy, the election denier guy. He defeated him by a larger margin than John Fetterman defeated Dr. Oz. And Dr. Oz is a Trump guy too. Like, Trump endorsed him, but Dr. Oz was not all the way in with the whole Biden didn't win bullshit. Same thing in Arizona. They were both election deniers. Kerry Lake and what's the other guy? Blake Masters, I think, in the Senate. Both Republicans. One running for Senate, the other one, Kerry Lake, running for the governorship. Both of them are election deniers. Both of them are still in. Actually, they're not. They had no declared winner yet, either on the Senate or the governorship. And but if I want to be one of those two Democrats, I want to be the Democrat running against Blake Masters, which is Kelly, something Kelly. I can't remember his first name. Oh, what's his freaking name? Mark Kelly. I want to be Mark Kelly, because he's ahead of the Republican by a larger margin than the other lady against Kerry Lake. I forgot her name too. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with me? I must be tired. I only slept 4 hours since yesterday. I slept 4 hours, and I worked 10 hours, and here I am now. I'm probably gonna sleep only another 4 hours, so I better go to bed soon. But so yeah, Mark Kelly is way ahead of, not way ahead, but he's like 3-4 points ahead of Blake Masters, and that's a decent margin. I think he's gonna pull it off in the end. Yeah, whereas Kerry Lake, she's also losing, but just barely, less than 1%. And I think that's the fault of this other lady, that Katie Hobbs, that's her name. Katie Hobbs refusing to debate this lady, and this lady is popular. I think she was a TV host or something, or a newscaster or something. And then she jumped into politics, and anyways, she's a hypocrite, by the way. But I'll share that. I'll share why. Hopefully, I'll never have to talk about her again. So you may never know why I think she's a hypocrite. But she's much closer to Katie Hobbs, even though she's down. But I think that was That's not a good Democrat, man. Katie Hobbs, like I said, she wouldn't debate this lady, and I think that looks bad on a candidate, and she doesn't sound very charismatic. Just the fact that this lady is an election denier, I think that's the only reason why it's so close. I think that's the only reason why Carrie Lake didn't win, just for being a Trump aligned election denier. But overall, I'm happy. So grateful for everyone that voted against these people, even the Republicans, because there's definitely a lot of Republicans that voted against all these freaking lunatics. I think they're crazy people, or they're not for democracy, plain and simple. And I value democracy. Yes, I hate freaking high gas prices. I do, but I rather keep my democracy than getting a $2 discount on a gallon of gas. That's just how I view it. I think we bought democracy more time. Democracy got stronger today, and hopefully it'll keep getting stronger because it's still on the weaker side. So, hooray, they lost.